Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Lissa and I am the owner and soap chef here at Handmade Soap and Shampoo Company, A Rather Good Lather. Thanks for joining me today. Another episode of What's Cooking. Although we're not going to be cooking right this second. This video is just going to be just a couple of minutes, you guys, to go over some bubble frosting that I made yesterday. I made a couple of different bubble frostings from different people. That seems to be the bane of my personal existence, is the damn bubble frosting. I've been making bath bombs for a long time, but I haven't done the frosting thing, so that is new to me. So I did wind up purchasing two different bubble frostings from two different suppliers. One is the Dream Come True recipe, and you can find that for sale on Etsy. The other one is the Wonder Bar, which you can find on Bath Fizz and Foam. And the Wonder Bar, I guess, was made primarily to make the bubble bars, the solid bubble bars, but they said that it is pipeable. You know, if you continue to add a certain ingredient, it is pipeable. Now, I can't tell you the ingredients which are in either one of those formulas because they are paid for recipes that these manufacturers or creators are selling, so I can't give you the recipe. But without further ado, let's just get right into this, shall we? So again, like the whole bath bomb situation, that seems to be a problem with a lot of people getting the right formula and getting it to work for them and their circumstances and their surroundings. Thankfully, I don't have that problem. The recipe that I created years and years and years ago, I still use that today and it works really, really well. I don't want to really mess with these too much because they're not as hard as they need to be, but this is my bomb. I don't know if you can even hear that. So that's like, it's hard as a rock, you guys. You could use these as a weapon. I hesitate to use the word tried and true and no fail, but they are. They really are. And in saying that, I can also say that I purchased, along with the Dream Come True frosting, she also provides her recipe, her formula for her bath bomb that she says is no fail. I tried that recipe and that did not work for me. So everything that I'm going to say today is not a diss on anybody. It's not putting anybody down. This is my own personal experience. These things may work really, really well for you. They did not work for me. Again, I have to preface that by saying I'm not new to making creations like this, so I know what I'm doing. I'm not a newbie. It didn't work for me the way that I need it to work. Let's move right along and get into the first thing. So I'm gonna group everything together. I have 4 different bombs sitting in front of me. These are the indent bombs that you frost and then you put a toy in the top. So I've never used the the Wonder Bar recipe. I've never used that before in any form, regardless whether it was trying to do the bubble bars or trying to pipe it or whatever. I purchased it, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, and I just now am coming around to the point of being able to try that out. And I specifically bought that for the frosting part of it. I don't do bubble bars. I may in the future at some point, but I just don't do them right now. So the first bomb that I frosted yesterday and the first recipe that I used yesterday was the Wonder Bar, the pipeable version. And I read the instructions extremely carefully, and I also watched the video 4 different times so that I could make sure that I was paying attention to every single tiny little detail, because I want to be precise. You know, because if I try to sub something out or, you know, do something different than what the instructions say to do, it's not going to come out right, because they're giving you the instructions in the recipe, how they do it, and if it works for them, this is how you should do it. So I follow every single minute detail. I follow. Okay, so there was all kinds of problems for me. Starting off with, this has nothing to do with the recipe or anything like that, but I have 2 different KitchenAids, and the one that I used yesterday is really, really old, and it's extremely powerful. So even on the very first setting, which is 1, it was whipping around really good. Because of that, I had product literally flying out of the bowl yesterday, and I cover my KitchenAid with a towel, and I tuck it in there around the bowl as best as I can to avoid powders flying or chunks of things flying out of there, and it still did it anyways. I had stuff everywhere. It was a disaster. So that wasn't working for me. I had to scrape everything out of there, put it in a different bowl, use my hand mixer. It never got to the consistency of that Play-Doh. It never got to a point where it would like be kind of rolling around that big dough blade in your KitchenAid mixture, kind of sticking to it and glopping and giving it a big kind of a roll and a kerplunk, if you will, like when you're making bread. You know what that looks like and feels like and sounds like. It never got like that. It never got like that in the mixer itself because I had product flying everywhere. It never got like that when I was hand mixing it either. It just stayed in little round balls, and I mixed for 10 minutes on various different speeds too. It never got to that point. And I needed to move along. It's one thing to, be experimenting and stuff, but right now probably isn't the best time for me because I'm super, 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 super busy. I have a ton of events coming up. I'm booked through November, and so it's really not the time for me to be messing around. I need to, chop, chop, let's go. We got stuff to do. So that was the first problem. And then per the instructions, they said to get the pipeable consistency, just continue to add more alcohol. Now I have 99% rubbing alcohol. That is what I use. I do have 70% alcohol here. I use that for cleaning in between batches. I'll give a spritz of my 70% alcohol on my table and equipment. Just give it a quick wipe down in between what I'm doing. But for use in my products, I primarily always use the 99%, which is what I used yesterday. Do you know that I had to add it 3 different times? They said their range is up to 30 grams more rubbing alcohol to get a pipeable consistency. I had to do the 30 grams times 3 to get it to be a pipeable consistency. And even then, I put it in my piping bag and I was squeezing so hard, I swore that the side of the bag of my piping bag was going to burst. I just swore that it was going to. I had to stop multiple times and knead and smush and knead and smush because it just wasn't coming out of the end of my tip. Then I took a toothpick and just dug around the inside of my piping tip to maybe loosen some of that up and maybe be able to have it more fluid, more flowing. That seemed to help a little bit because once I got past the initial couple of really, really hard squeezes to start getting that out of my piping bag, then it flowed more freely. And so this is the end result. I have the toy already on there. Let me back it up. I don't know. I want you guys to see the detail of it. I think I used a 6B, Wilton 6B piping tip. And so it looks beautiful. And so this is, I can push it. It's hard-ish. It is not hard to a point where I'd be able to ship this if I wanted to, because I could still, if I pressed hard enough, I could make an indent with it. But it's getting there. It is hard-ish, and it is getting there. And so I think like what they said in the video anyways is that it could take up to 4 days to harden. So today's only day 1, and it is getting there. So with the problems with mixing it, it never got to the consistency that they said that it was going to for me. So I just had to keep rolling with it. And the fact that I had to use 3 times the amount of alcohol that was suggested in order for it to even get to this pipeable consistency. So I wasn't really thrilled with those aspects of it. However, the end product looks great. It feels great. I think it's going to do what it's supposed to do in the end. So even though there was difficulties getting it to mix and getting it to pipe, the end result is okay. It's satisfactory. I'm okay with that. So then I went on to the next bomb and I thought, all right, well, let me make the dream come true recipe. I made that one time over the holidays in Christmas, exactly like they said. And it took weeks, you guys, to harden. Weeks. And I followed that recipe again to the T. every minute detail, including weighing your pot, weighing your ingredients, weighing it again afterwards, adding more preserved distilled water at the end for water evaporation loss. To a T, I followed it. It took weeks. So I was skeptical about trying it again. I really didn't want to try it again, if I'm being frank. However, the ingredients that are in that recipe are not all that different from the solid shampoo bars. So because I use finely ground SCI powder, I don't use the noodles, I use the powder, and then I grind it up again myself, so it's really fine powder. There's no need for me in my solid shampoo bars any longer to do the double boiler method and heat that all up. Other people seem to like to do that. That's the way I've done it all these years that I've been making shampoo bars. Since 2004, I think I've been making shampoo bars. So I've always done the double boiler method. However, I don't like it. It's gloppy, it's thick, it's lumpy, it's mashed potato-y. You have to hurry quick, glop it in the mold, and hope that you can get it in there and push it in there and smooth it out enough so that it looks semi-presentable. I've never liked it. So then Marie from Humble Bee and Me put out a video doing all of that without the double boiler. And she just mixes everything dry, rolls it up into a bowl, and you have like Play-Doh, and then you pinch off some, you stick it in your 3D mold press, and there you go, voila. I've got a couple videos up on my channel regarding that. I think I did the pink grapefruit and ginger solid shampoo bars, and I demoed how Marie does it, and I'm telling you, it's a game changer for me. All of that being said, I'm looking at the recipe from the Dream Come True, and I'm thinking, why do I need to double boil this? For what reason? I don't see a reason. A lot of these ingredients are exactly the same as the solid shampoo bars. Why? So I didn't do the double boiler method. So I just dumped everything in, mixed everything, and started piping it. And this is what I have to say. The Dream Come True recipe pipes so beautifully, so creamy, silky, smooth, shiny. It just pipes beautifully. It actually pipes way better than like regular buttercream on a cake, in my personal opinion. However, that being said, it's still really, really soft. Like, I'm not even going to push hardly at all because it's that soft. Now, it's not as soft as it was way back in December when I first tried this, and I did it their way, per their instructions, which took weeks to get hard. I would never even be able to touch this at all the following day if I did it the double boiler method like they suggest to do. But because I didn't do that, I didn't use heat at all, this is fine. I can touch this. It's not indenting from me touching it. If I pushed pretty hard, it would indent, okay? But this will get there. It's not gonna get there in enough time for my liking, but that's okay. This pipes beautifully, all right? So that was the second time. Oh, and P.S., I can say this much. One of the binders that they, not even a binder, one of the additives that they use is water, okay? And that's a reason why it takes so long to harden, because they use water, and they use it in a fairly decent amount. It's a pretty decent percentage. So that's why it takes so long, okay? So then I'm thinking, all right, well, I like that recipe. It pipes beautifully. I really love how that pipes more than anything else. Why don't I sub out the water for the alcohol? I'm not doing the double boiler method. So I don't need to, you know, like cook out the water and let it evaporate and do all that kind of stuff and melt down the SCI powder, because that's already in a really fine granule powder. So let me just replace the water with alcohol, because that seems to be what everybody says about bubble frosting. Don't use the water because it's going to take too long for it to evaporate out, and it's going to take a long time for that to harden. Use alcohol. All right, that sounds fine by me. That's all I did with the next batch. I took the recipe, and instead of water, I used alcohol. Now, This did not pipe as beautifully as this one. And I don't know if you can see the ruffles and just how distinct they are. And they just look, I don't know, they look really cool, you know, nice, beautiful, luscious, clean, crisp. So subbing out water for alcohol, I don't know why it didn't pipe as beautifully. However, it's a lot harder than the one with the water. This is the one with water, and I don't want to press too hard because it's definitely going to indent. I can feel that it will. This one, made with alcohol instead of water, I can press in. It's getting there, and it will get harder. I think this is going to get harder than the water one. So they're both going to take some time. They're not as hard as I need them to be. So let's just say, because I have an event coming up this Sunday. Today's Tuesday. I made these yesterday, which was Monday. These are not going to be ready by Sunday. They're not going to be hard enough to bring out to an event. No way. It's not going to happen. The dream come true will. This definitely will. The dream come true, or I'm sorry, the Wonder Bar. The Wonder Bar, this one will be ready. Both of the dream come trues will not be ready by the weekend. So out of necessity, which is the mother of invention, I thought, you know what? I need to just make my own. And I have found through the years that that is the best thing for me to do. Obviously, we all started out somewhere, right? We all needed help at some point. We all needed to ask questions and maybe even ask for a recipe to begin with. When I first started making soap, a gracious woman named Jill in one of the forums said, hey, I have a recipe for soap that's tried and true. It's made with lard. I'll go ahead and share that with you. Try that out for your first time and let me know how it goes. And I did do that. And it came out really, really lovely. It was a beautiful bar of soap. And so I was really grateful for that help. But I didn't want to use animal products, you know. So then I out of necessity, I had to come up with my own. But before I came up with the recipe, obviously, I had to do a whole lot of research and studying about the different oils used for soap making and their properties and what they offer. What is it that I want in a bar of soap? Okay, well, that's great. Well, what does my customer want, though? Because that's more important. A really hard bar with thick, rich, creamy, silky lather and big bubbles. So I formulated my own soap recipe. So it's the same thing with everything we do. So my recipes are mine. They're not anybody else's. I created them. My bath bomb recipe is mine. I didn't take that from anybody else. I didn't tweak somebody else's. That's mine. I came up with that on my own. Same with my soap frosting. Pro tip, butters. Butters are the key to a creamy, silky, smooth, lovely consistency piping. Butters. I use cocoa butter and shea butter in my soap frosting. So now the same thing with bubble frosting. I have to come up with my own because I can't continue to spend money on other people's products and it's not working. Now, if you're a business person, it's all a write-off. You know, it's research and development. But if it's not working, it's not working. I know the general principles of what should be in a bubble frosting to achieve what you want. So I came up with my own recipe yesterday. And this is the fourth try. As you can see, the piping looks great. It looks similar to the dream come true as far as the ruffles. Now you can see a color difference, and that's because the dream come true does not use kale and clay. I do. So does the Wonder Bar. So you can see the color is kind of the same in the Wonder Bar and in mine, but it is not in the dream come true frosting. It's very, very white. So the way you combat that is add a little bit of titanium dioxide if you need it to be whiter. So this, you guys, I'm pressing. I mean, I'm pressing. You can see. I'm pressing. This is really, really hard. Now, by the time the show comes up on Sunday, I want these packaged and labeled by Thursday night. Friday, obviously, I could wait until Friday. I probably will actually wait until Friday. But by Friday, these are going to be like a brick. I'm going to be able to throw this at something and make a dent. So again, I hesitate to use the word tried and true and no fail, but I'm telling you guys, the proof is in the pudding. Necessity is the mother of invention. And when you buy other people's formulas that are for sale, try them out, tweak them to whatever you need them to be to work for you. And again, there's so many different variables: where I live, the climate, the humidity, the elevation, the surroundings of the facility that I work in, the temperature that I have here in the facility that I work in. Do I have a dehumidifier? There's so many variables. Where did I get my ingredients? That absolutely has a part to play, especially in bath bombs, especially when you're purchasing citric acid. It really does depend where you get it. So that is my review, you guys, of the Wonder Bar used as bubble frosting piped. It's okay. I had a lot of problems mixing it, and I do mean a lot of problems. I tried to film it yesterday, actually, you guys, if I'm being honest, and there were a lot of non-G-rated words that were being said. So I thought, let's just skip that video, shall we? We're not even going to put that one up there because we want to keep this G-rated on this channel. So the end result is okay. It's okay. I'm not thrilled, but it's okay. The dream come true, again, pipes beautifully. It really pipes beautifully. But I don't have the time to wait days, many, many days, or weeks for this to harden. I don't have that type of time. So if I'm being frank, I'm not going to use this recipe ever again for that reason. Let me just say this. Never say never, you guys. Let me clarify. I can't say I will never use this again because I really do love the way that it pipes, but I'm going to treat this as if it was cold processed soap, in that if I have something coming up a month from now, then I can go ahead and use this frosting and then let this sit for a month to cure, to evaporate out, to get hard enough to be able to take it out to market to sell. That I might do. But who of us has the time, really, as far as bath bombs are concerned, or any of our bath products, to wait for a month? We have to do that with our soap. We don't have a choice in the matter. You have to let that cure. You have to let that saponify and let that water evaporate out and make sure that it's not lye heavy before you sell that to somebody else. So we all know that. We plan that in advance. Like, I have things coming up in June, and I have soaps curing right now ready for June. So basically, out of necessity, I created my own bubble frosting. It works really well. It pipes really well, and it's hard. I mean, really hard already, one day later. So by Friday, that's going to be a brick. Okay, you guys, that is my review today. I was going to try to keep this as short as I can. I'm sorry I started rambling on for over 20 minutes now, but I hope this helps somebody else, because there's so many people who struggle with bath bombs and frosting, and then you'll hear everybody ranting and raving and going crazy over all these other formulas that are being put up for sale. And, you know, to their credit, these people have put in a lot of time, effort, energy, resources, and so forth to create these and offer these to the masses. Even if it is for sale and they're trying to make a little bit of money off of it, good for you. Good for you. I'm going to start selling some of my formulas too. So I don't begrudge anybody to make your money. As long as it's legal, however you have to make your cash, make it, I say. So these are not bad formulas. They're not. And they may work for you. They did not work for me. And so I won't be using them. I'm going to be using my own. So if you guys have any questions, comments, put them down below. I will also give a link down below to each one of these formulas that you can go to their website and purchase them and try them out for yourself. And maybe you will have an entirely different experience than I did. I know that when I read a lot in the Facebook groups, I see people saying, oh yeah, I did this and it came out wonderful, and I did that and it came out wonderful. And that's their experience, and I'm happy for them that it worked and it came out really great for them. It did not work for me, and so, you know, I'm just going to move on from there. But, you know, so far, I mean, I've purchased a bath bomb recipe in the past, and I wound up making my own. I've purchased soap frosting recipes in the past, and I wound up making my own. Soap recipes, I never purchased a soap recipe, but I've received soap recipes from other people. I wound up making my own. And now here I am with the bubble frosting. I have purchased other people's recipes. I wound up making my own. So if you know what you're doing, you guys, and y'all do, you people who have been doing this like I have been for years and years, you know what you're doing. You know the properties of these ingredients. You know what they provide, and just trust your gut. Trust that you know what you're doing, and do it yourself, man. You know what I mean? You can do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it, okay? Just get creative, trial and error, a little splash of this, a little pinch of that, write really good notes, and then do your calculations and formulations. Do it in grams because it's the most accurate, you know, when you're testing things out, and go from there. That's it, you guys. I need to get back to work. I have a ton of stuff to do to get ready for this weekend's event. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until we meet again, be well, stay safe. We'll see you soon.